The prosperity gospel is a theological belief that is largely unique to America. It is popularized and put forth by Pentecostal preachers such as Joel Osteen and Kenneth Hagin. These goobers teach that God desires financial prosperity for his people on earth in this lifetime. Contrast this with the teaching of Jesus Christ, who says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." So, why am I talking about these goofy Pentecostal preachers? Most people know they're phonies, even Christians. The reason I'm bringing up this topic is because the substance of their theology is more pervasive than one might initially think. Allow me to explain. While many Christians express with their lips that the teachings of prosperity pastors is false, they seldom actually live that way. What do I mean? Well, when tragedy befalls another Christian, what do these Christians say? Usually something along the lines of, "Oh, God will bless you for this," or "It will be okay, God will make it better." If someone dies or experiences some sort of life-altering event, these words can be comforting at first, but they implicitly assume the premises of the prosperity gospel. And this is where it gets dangerous. If one is expecting a blessing from God when they're experiencing hardship and they don't receive said blessing, what are they going to do? Most likely, they will lash out and blame God. This is why the prosperity gospel is so dangerous, and I dare say even demonic. It sets people up for failure. What if God is actually calling us to take up our cross and follow Him? What if God desires us to live an ascetic life rather than to always be on, always receive pleasure and good things? Compare the prosperity gospel teaching to an Orthodox piety. We believe if we don't have a cross, then we aren't following Christ. There's a pious story that has been passed down that illustrates this disposition. There was once a woman who entered church and was weeping towards the back. Someone told her that the priest would see her at the end of the service. Eventually, her wailings grew so loud that she gets the attention of the priest. Finally, he comes over and asks her what is wrong. She replies, "My husband loves me, my children are healthy, my cattle are doing well, we have a roof over our head, and it's been like this for months. God has forsaken us." You see, life without hardship, life without a cross, is a life without Christ. We know that being a Christian requires death to the self. When Jesus carried his cross, he wasn't doing it so we don't have to. He was leading by example. He tells us, "Take up your cross and follow me." So, does this mean that God just wants us to suffer? Absolutely not. The reality is, we live in a fallen world, marred and tainted by the effects of sin. As a result, we struggle in this life. Not everything goes our way. But everything that happens in life happens by the permission of God. As the spiritual testament of St. Seraphim of Varitza begins, "Have you ever thought that everything that touches you touches me as well? For that which touches you touches the apple of my eye. You are dear in my eyes, precious, and I have loved you. Therefore, it is a particular pleasure for me to educate you. When temptations arise against you, and the enemy comes like a river, I want you to know, this was from me." I will leave a link to the full text in the description. It has provided me with an immense sense of peace in difficult times, and I find it very profound. This is how we ought to think when we experience trials. Rather than expecting God to rain blessings upon us and getting frustrated when He doesn't, we should humble ourselves. There is always something to learn from trials in life. God permitted those trials to come into our lives in the first place. Sometimes it's difficult, and sometimes it's confusing, but we should never expect God to pay us back this side of eternity for the trials that we experience in this life. Otherwise, we have no reward in heaven. Remember the crucified King. Remember the lives of the apostles and early Christian martyrs. The true path of salvation is the cross. We should take peace in knowing where the cross is, there also is the Lord.